Is your willy not rising to the occasion when you want it to? In today's video, I'm going to show you 15 different ways that you can generate super strong erections reliably and consistently and get rid of that problem once and for all. And stick around to the end because number 15 is something you would never have expected to help with erectile dysfunction. So before we can kind of help you fix the problem, we have to first understand what the problem actually is. So how does an erection actually work biomechanically in the first place? Well, your penis consists of two columns of sponge-like tissue called the corpora cavernosa. What happens during an erection is these will fill with blood. And the more blood that these chambers fill up with, well, then the heavier and the stiffer your penis gets, thus forming an erection. So there are really three things that are fundamental to achieving and maintaining strong erections. One, cardiovascular health. Does your body have the ability to pump blood where it needs to go effectively and efficiently? Number two is nitric oxide production. So nitric oxide is the compound in your body that causes blood vessels to relax, dilate, and fill up with blood in the first place. And there are actually three different ways that our body creates nitric oxide in the first place. One is through deep nasal breathing. This helps our body produce nitric oxide. Number two, the blood vessels themselves will make nitric oxide, but as we age, they reduce their ability to do so. And number three are the compounds L-arginine and L-citrulline, which we get through our diet and through supplementation. Now, the quick fix that most people reach to when it comes to having boner problems, erection problems, is they look for the little blue pill. The problem is, these don't work all the time if your body is lacking nitrates. If it's unable to produce nitric oxide in the first place, we'll get into why that is later on. Taking the little blue pill ain't gonna do anything. And the third pillar of a strong erection is a strong pelvic floor. Now the pelvic floor is this network of muscles that's kind of shaped like a hammock, and it supports your internal organs, but it also runs along the base of your genital area and supports all that as well. A good metaphor for this is to think of it like the foundations of a skyscraper. The only reason a skyscraper is able to be built so tall is because the foundations beneath it are really, really strong and sturdy and buried into the ground there. So think of your pelvic floor kind of like that. For you to have a strong skyscraper, you need to have the strong foundation underneath it supporting it. So now let's go over 15 different methods for guaranteed super strong erections. Number one, eating foods that increase nitric oxide production. So things like watermelon are a great source of L-citrulline. Beets in beetroots are packed full of the precursor to nitric oxide, which is nitrates. So you have to have nitrates in your diet in order for your body to be even able to produce nitric oxide in the first place. And in this particular instance, it actually turns out that non-organic beets is actually better to consume for this purpose than organic ones, because non-organic beets have higher levels of nitrates in them due to the use of excess fertilizers. Pomegranate and pomegranate juice is another food that is really, really good at increasing nitric oxide production in your body. Number two, supplements that can increase nitric oxide production. So just supplementing directly and rather than having to eat something specific. L-citrulline and L-arginine are two supplements that directly impact your body's ability to produce nitric oxide. And in fact, these two compounds actually work even better synergistically. When you take them together, they actually have an exponentially better effect than if you take twice as much of them each individually. Number three, supplements that reduce arterial plaque. Everyone's familiar with the idea of, like, atherosclerosis, like heart attacks. They don't, however, tend to apply it to the penis. You can get arterial plaques in your penis as well, because they have veins and arteries just like every other part of your body. And so wherever you would get calcium deposits in your arteries, this is what arterial plaque is, this really buildup of calcium. Okay, well, you're also gonna get them in your penis. So we have to work out how can we clear those arteries out and get rid of those calcium deposits? And there are a couple of supplements that we can take exactly for that. One of them is vitamin K2, the MK7 variant. If you're ever supplementing with vitamin D, by the way, you should absolutely co-supplement with vitamin K2, the MK7 variant. Otherwise, if you just supplement with vitamin D, you're gonna accidentally cause a excess buildup of calcium in your arteries. So that's very, very important. The second compound is called Icariin. Now this also does the exact same thing. It helps to clear out those calcium deposits in your arteries. Number four, fixing venous drainage. The idea behind venous drainage is simply that the blood isn't being trapped well enough in your penis during an erection. The theory behind this is that inflation causes this accumulation of white blood cells, which can cause the lining of your veins to get diseased, and so now the fibers there are breaking down and they're not able to effectively trap blood in going into one direction. So horse chestnut extract is actually a supplement that helps with the breaking down of these substances that are important to the integrity and the structure of the vein itself. And so horse chestnut extract can help you heal the lining of your veins. Shockwave therapy can also help in this regard as well, and it can help heal the lining of the veins and help prevent venous leakage. Number 5, nasal breathing. You do not want to be a mouth breather. This also actually affects the shape of your face entirely. There's a whole other video I could make on that. So you actually have erectile tissues lining your nasal passages. So deep nasal breathing actually helps our body to produce more nitric oxide rather than puffing and panting through your mouth all the time. Number 6, nasal humming or nasal vibrating. So this kind of a exercise, this kind of a sound, this kind of a practice, cool. This also helps to increase your body's ability to produce nitric oxide through the nasal passages. Number 7, positioning, and this is more of a short-term, immediate fix for this particular problem. So standing up, being on your knees or being on all fours or whatever, is actually better for keeping the blood flow in your penis than lying on your back. Number 8, emptying your bladder. If you look at a cross-section of your bladder and the genital area, you'll see that everything is very closely packed together. If your bladder is full and enlarged, then sometimes it can just push on these veins and arteries and actually just restrict the blood flow to your penis. So simply emptying your bladder out before sex is a good way of ensuring that you get as much blood flow there as possible. And in fact, that's something I used to do before every single scene. Number 9, pelvic floor breathing. Now your pelvic floor doesn't give you an erection, but it helps to hold it up there. Like we said before, it's kind of the foundation to your skyscraper. Now your pelvic floor is also intimately connected to your breathing. It holds your lungs, your diaphragm, all that in place as you're breathing. So short and shallow, stressful breathing doesn't breathe in through your diaphragm, and so your pelvic floor stays tight and constricted. Practice doing really deep, deliberate breaths into your belly, into your diaphragm, right down the bottom here. This will help to improve the blood flow to your penis and relax those pelvic floor muscles. Number 10, Kegel exercises. If you're not familiar with what a Kegel is, it's basically a way of exercising your pelvic floor. The easiest way for men to do that is that sensation you would use to stop your pee coming out mid-flow. Well, that is technically one Kegel, one contraction of those pelvic floor muscles. So an example of some Kegel exercise you might do, tighten and contract that muscle for 5 seconds, hold, and then release. Practice this every day or a couple of times a day, and soon enough, your pelvic floor will become a lot stronger and a lot more reliable. Number 11, hip adduction and abduction. You've seen this before at the gym. It's that machine that women exclusively use, where they spread their legs and then bring their legs in like that. Doing this exercise, using this machine, will increase blood flow to your pelvic area, to your penis. Maybe you go in and you use it when there's no one else at the gym in the early hours of the morning when no one can see you using it. And additionally, it will also increase your hip flexor strength and range of motion, which is extremely helpful in the bedroom, especially if you're going to be a bit more acrobatic and athletic in your bedroom activities. Number 12, pelvic floor bridges. So how are we going to do a pelvic floor bridge? Well, we're going to go through these following steps. You're going to brace, perform a Kegel, and then you'll hip thrust, and then slowly bring those hips back down again and keep holding, and then release that Kegel. Do that for about 20 reps. Number 13, quit porn. Porn is damaging to men for so many different reasons, but this one in particular. You're effectively programming your mind and body to only respond physically to very unrealistic and extreme sexual scenarios and stimulation, and visual stimulation. Here is a litmus test to tell if you are consuming too much porn or you have consumed too much porn. Do you find pornography more sexually stimulating than, or visually stimulating or exciting than a real life sexual encounter? It should be the latter. Real life sex should be far more exciting to you, and your body should respond in a far more excited manner than anything you see on a computer screen. Number 14, this goes along with that. Stop masturbating. When you ejaculate, your brain dumps prolactin into your body. And prolactin is the compound that causes the male refractory period, aka the time between rounds of sex, like how long it takes you to get going again and get excited again. So the more you jerk off, the more prolactin is going to be in your brain, and the less aroused overall you will be. Number 15, walking. Now this might sound a bit odd, but a Harvard study found that 30 minutes a day of walking reduced erectile dysfunction issues by up to 41%. And to be fair, it's probably less to do with the walking and more to do with the fact that you're just not sitting for an extended period of time, because sitting too much weakens our pelvic floor, because those pelvic muscles don't have to work as hard while we're sitting. So now we know how to stop your boner getting killed. How about we learn how to stop your testosterone levels getting killed as well? Well then, watch this video right here and learn more about that.